Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this daily devotional that we're doing throughout Lent. If you've been a part of this, you know that we are working through Pete Gregg's book entitled God on Mute, engaging the silence of unanswered prayer. We've all experienced, I'm sure, unanswered prayer. Those times in which we have desperately wanted God to intervene in whatever it is that we're asking God to do and whatever it is that we're going through. And so today we're on day 8, and it's entitled Making the Ask. We all have requests of God, don't we? We all have experiences, going through experiences maybe currently where we desperately need God to show up. And so as we enter into this time of prayer this morning, I'd like us just to listen to the words of the psalmist as we hit the pause button a moment before we get into our new day here that God has blessed us with. So hear these words from Psalm 62, verses 5 and 6. For God alone my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken. Sit in those words. Let those words wash over you this morning. Let me read that again for you. For God alone my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall never, ever be shaken. You know, the great theologian Karl Barth said that true prayer is primarily very simple. In the first instance, it is an asking. This is reassuring for those of us who struggle, Barth says, to issue anything more than 6-year-old Dear God request. But maybe our simplest prayers is exactly what God is longing for. Jesus says that the world is full of so-called prayer warriors who are prayer ignorant. Don't you find that interesting? That's coming from the Message Bible in Matthew chapter 6. It says they're prayer ignorant. They're full of formulas and programs and advice, peddling techniques for getting what you want from God. Don't fall for that nonsense. Don't fall for that nonsense. Jesus says, this is your Father you are dealing with, and he knows you better than you know yourself. He knows what you need. With a God like this, loving you, you can pray very, very simply. We're called to bring our simple requests to God, to let him know exactly what we're going through, what we're experiencing, how we're feeling. Our relationship with this loving God who will always be with us, never turn away from us, always be pursuing us in love. When my simple Dear God prayers don't work, what do you do then? What formulas do you possibly run to? What formulas or what techniques maybe? 6 easy steps to getting God to respond. I think prayer, the life of prayer is much deeper. And I'm on a journey just like you all. I'm not an expert in this area, and I'm trying to dive deeper into a prayer life, practicing the presence of Jesus with me constantly. and not buying into some technique or some specific practice that will somehow hopefully manipulate the answers that I want or manipulate God. So right now, I'd like us just to focus in on what are those simple prayers this morning that you need to offer up to God as you begin this day. What are those prayers that maybe you've just been holding them in? They're so deep on your heart, and you just long for God to show up and somehow God to speak into your situation. I'd like to end this prayer time this morning by, once again, a couple days ago, Pastor Lou reflected upon this hymn, and it also appears again today in day 8 in our devotional study. And it's the well-loved hymn of surrendering, because I think that's a huge part of getting in the stream of God's grace is surrendering, giving ourselves completely to Jesus. It's entitled, "All to Jesus I Surrender," and the words once again are, "All to Jesus I surrender, all to him I freely give. I will ever love and trust him, in his presence daily live. I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all." May the words of that great hymn become a reality in our lives as we surrender all to Jesus. May God bless you as you begin this new day, and may we all learn to practice the presence of Jesus, because he is with you, he is for you, he loves you. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.